The Lakers are plotting something massive as we have a brand new update following multiple reports that have dropped surrounding Rob Pelinka's plans regarding acquiring a defensive wing. And this new report changes the landscape of the Lakers' plans as Summer League continues to go on. We're going to break down these brand new reports, discuss what it means going forward, as well as a few other updates. But before we get into it all, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content, folks. There's a lot to go over today, so let's not waste any more time. You guys have been absolute beasts with the support. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, there's some big updates to go over, of course. But as we all know, the Lakers are in a very unique spot right now. And of course, Summer League is happening. The team is rolling. But we're seeing a lot of the young guys play. They still desperately need a defensive minded wing. And Brett Siegel, we have another report as well. But Brett Siegel was recently asked about if he had to guess what wing will the Lakers acquire, and he once again names Andrew Wiggins. You can see this here. I know they like Wiggins, but not at the price Miami has held for him. We'll see if that comes down at the Summer League. I also know Pelinka and Cronin have a strong relationship. Worth keeping an eye on Portland. We'll have another video on that coming soon. So, folks, it seems that something big is happening right now. And of course, Rob Pelinka, he needs to make another move. That's not it's not an if, it's a when, right? And the big question mark is who that will be. And you pair that with Brett Siegel's report here saying that they're actively looking for a new defensive player on the perimeter/wing. I'd expect them to make a trade for one by the end of the month. Lakers are active in the wing market. So it's two different basically just two different reports now, kind of coincided with the same thing. We have some other reports or some other reporters as well. But he said it all comes down to that at the Summer League. So something to keep an eye out on now is the Summer League. And of course, we saw Bronny go up against Cooper Flag. We're going to be seeing some of the younger guys play. Darius Baisley, even like he might deserve a roster spot. All these different things, which we'll have videos covering, of course. It comes down to Andrew Wiggins. Now, I want you to leave in the comment section down below. Do you think the Lakers, A, are going to get him, and B, what are your kind of thoughts on him? Because we're doing some more research. There's some other reports that have come up. You look back into some of the streams from Jovan Buha here, and some quotes from that are interesting and coincides with what Brett Siegel, very notable reporter, has been saying as well. Let's dive into it here. I think the Lakers need another wing defender in the mix. If it were up to me, I'm putting Rui Dalton in the first on the table. And I think Wiggins is an overpay. But what else out there, or what else is there out there, rather, that is better than Wiggins and that I can potentially get with that package? So a couple different things here. And I think what, Jovan Buha is saying, I'll have some clarity in a minute. I think what Rob Pelinka is going to do now and is actively doing, according to reports from Jovan Buha, according to reports from Brett Siegel, he's going to put what they have on the table, right? So they have Rui Hachimura, they have Dalton Knecht, they have their first round pick. Those are the big kind of pieces they can have. And they can just put it out there, float it out there on the trade market and say, hey, these are the available pieces. What center can we get back for him? Or not center, rather, wing defender or center, of course, depending. They're probably pretty set on the center position with, DeAndre Ayton and things like that. And it makes things very interesting that Andrew Wiggins' name keeps coming up. And it's coming up for a reason. Miami wants to trade him. Their current, offer to the Lakers is way too much, which what we're hearing is Rui Dalton and the first. And it becomes then very interesting, especially as you look at the team, you look at kind of who they have. We'll dive into a mock trade in a minute. But he makes a good point. Like, at some point, you're going to have to upgrade this team. And if the only available option out there is Andrew Wiggins for a crazy trade, is that something that, the Lakers should do? That's kind of they have to decide that. There's obviously been a lot of drama lately with LeBron James, whether he wants to stay in LA. And Joe Ambuha did add some context to this quote. He said, to add context to this quote, as this isn't everything I said in the clip, I wouldn't do Rui a first and Knecht for Wiggins. That's an overpay. My point was that I'd be willing to put all three of those assets, at least some combination, if not all of them, on the table for a wing upgrade. But with Wiggins specifically, I said that's an overpay, and I'd restructure the package and not include all three of those assets, or I just wouldn't do it. So just to clarify on that. But regardless of all that, with these new reports that are coming out, they're going to be making a move for a wing. That is clearly, these are the type of reports that we got regarding the Lakers before they made, the big splash acquiring DeAndre Ayton, which kind of fell into their laps. We knew they were going to acquire a center. And now it's just on Rob Pelinka to go ahead and acquire a wing. That's what's next up on the list is, of course, acquiring a wing. They figured out their center position for better or for worse, whether you like DeAndre Ayton, whether you think that he's kind of probably shouldn't be the starting center, whatever. Now, you look at it from the perspective of, a trade now. I brought this up here. Rui connecting the first for Andrew Wiggins. This is the trade that keeps being brought up because numerous reporters have said that this is the deal that is currently on the table for the Lakers if they want it. This is essentially, for all intents and purposes here, 2 first-round picks, and maybe Knecht is worth, let's if you wanna, like, obviously, you can't do it now in hindsight, but let's say it's worth a late first-round pick, right? So you have your first-round pick in 2031, which could be anything. You have your recent first-round pick in Dalton Knecht, and, 2 years ago, and Rui Hachimura, who is a very good starter in this league. You could argue that there isn't a huge upgrade between Rui Hachimura and Andrew Wiggins. Now, I would prefer Andrew Wiggins absolutely in a nutshell, like a much better defender, a better creator, but Rui Hachimura is a better shooter and might fit alongside Luka, on the surface better. Like, I don't think anyone's arguing a straight up swap Wiggins for, Rui is a bad deal. But to give up a starter and Knecht and a first makes things very, very interesting. And you can see this here, another quote from his podcast. With the Miami deal for Wiggins and DeAnthony Melton, I think the Lakers are in the title mix. But with only the Miami deal and not Melton, I think they go up a tier and at worst are the fourth best team in the West. So it's clear that, insiders and I think myself as well, like I think that Wiggins is worth the upgrade. I don't know if he's worth all of these assets, but clearly, Rob Pelinka is plotting something massive. Numerous reporters are starting to think and say that they're working on something in the summer league, that they're working on a big deal surrounding a guy like Andrew Wiggins, or at the very least, a wing. Of course, it all depends at the end of the day on how much Rob Pelinka is willing to go up in his, in his valuation surrounding his players, right? And let me know again in the comment section, would you do a deal for Rui, a first, and Dalton Knecht? It is absolutely an overpay. But is that an overpay you think is worth the acquisition cost, which is getting a very solid veteran, which is crazy to say Wiggins is a veteran, but a very solid veteran wing defender who is a very solid scorer as well. And we think back to some of the reports from Anthony Irwin, they're going to reopen those Wiggins conversations. And it makes things interesting. I mean, these conversations have been ongoing since June, late June, so a couple weeks ago. And this is again from Anthony Irwin a couple weeks ago, saying they believe Miami would push for Knecht in the trade, as the Lakers may not want to trade their first round pick. Miami might also look to move Kyle Anderson. Like, there's a lot of ways that this trade can go down. It's been one that's been talked about now since the draft, and of course, there was momentum there for a while prior to, of course, the trade not going through. And you look at his stats, very good with the Warriors, very good with Miami. Think back to a few years ago there when he was an All-Star in 2021. He obviously won a championship with the Warriors. Like, he is a very solid player now, and he's developed really well and would truly be a perfect fit alongside what the Lakers have here. I mean, he would probably replace Rui Hachimura, and I don't mind giving up Rui in the deal because, of course, Rui would be the guy who gets replaced. But I don't know about giving up the other assets, because then you handicap yourself surrounding getting more players in the future. Of course, they're saving some cap hit for 2027 and beyond, all those different things. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. Clearly, Rob is planning something massive. New reports are indicating that something big is coming, and it can come as soon as the summer league. So it's interesting. Would you do that deal, or do you think it is an overpay? Especially given the fact that, he's a very good defender. He's kind of transformed his game a little bit, a very good role player, and I think would be an absolute upgrade over Rui Hachimura, even though he's not quite as good of a shooter. He's a better overall player and something the Lakers could use, but I don't know if they want to give up Knecht and first. Thank you guys for watching. And once again, let me know down below if you do the deal. Cheers.